Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. My name is Adrienne Lee. You can call me the Wandering Art Historian, and we are continuing our series, How to Read a Painting. We've been talking about symbols in art. We've compared them to colors in art, how they change over time, how their meanings change from culture to culture. And today's video is something that I am very excited about. Symbols hidden in plain sight. Now, I know you've been to a museum or an art gallery where you see a painting and it's just full of stuff and you're like, boy, why did the people not clean up their house before the artist got there? I'm here to tell you that all of those little things that you see in those paintings are put there deliberately because they all mean something, and we're gonna talk about that with this video. In fact, we're gonna start with the image that we've been using to promote this series right here. Yes. Now, I'm not gonna tell you the name of this painting. What I want to do is I want to point out all these symbols and their meanings, and together let's see if we can figure out what's really going on. This will be our mystery to solve, so let's go look for some clues, shall we? So let's start with our two figures here, okay? We have a gentleman and a lady, and I just have to say, these people are super fancy, aren't they? First of all, this dude right here has this very long velvet cloak lined in fur. Okay, super fancy, right? Check out that hat. I mean, come on. It's incredible. Look at this nice lady's outfit here. Now, do you remember in our discussion of the color green, during the Middle Ages, definitely associated with alchemy, kind of a negative connotation. However, this painting is from 1434, so we're moving away from the Middle Ages through the Renaissance, and it's starting to have less and less of a negative connotation. However, it is still an extremely difficult color to manufacture a dye of for clothing. So what does that mean that this lady has a dress entirely in green, this very difficult color dye to manufacture? It means these people have money. These people are wealthy, right? And now I know what you're thinking, is this woman pregnant? That is still up for debate in some realms of art history. However, we believe that she probably isn't pregnant. She is just holding up all of the different folds of all of this extensive fabric of her dress, okay? Now, the fact that they're kind of showing off a little bit, that they have these fancy clothes, pretty wealthy, pretty high status, that does make sense because this gentleman's name is Giovanni Arnolfini, and he was an Italian cloth merchant. Well, that makes sense. He's very proud of the fact that he's successful as a cloth merchant, and he kind of wants to show that off. Good job. They're living in Bruges at this time, and doesn't it kind of look like he's got his hand up almost as if he's taking an oath? Interesting, right? And he's holding her hand. Interesting, isn't it? Now let's start to look at their home, the space that they're in. Do you notice that behind this nice lady, we've got a very elaborate bedchamber? Do you see that? And what color are the curtains around the bedchamber? Very bright red, right? And red, as we've seen, especially if it's associated with a bedchamber, probably referencing love, romance, and passion, right? Are we getting a clearer depiction of what's really going on here? Let's go in for a closer look, shall we? So I've got some details here so that you can see some of the symbols that are going on in the background. And the first one I want to draw your attention to is this incredible mirror here. Here's the detail on the far right. Now it's interesting because a mirror often represents the idea of reflection, quite literally and figuratively, the idea of being able to reflect upon oneself. And it also has a very spiritual symbolism, reflecting the spotless mirror of the Virgin Mary, another pure vessel reference. Her purity, the Immaculate Conception. In this case, it's also referencing their spirituality because the medallions that surround this mirror are all little scenes from the Passion of the Christ. So this implies that they are a very spiritual and religious couple, right? Now, next to this mirror, we have some beads that we believe are made out of crystal, something that's clear. And these could be rosary beads or prayer beads, something that assist you in your spiritual study or prayer. Again, emphasizing that they are religious, okay? What's interesting is something that's going on in the mirror. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but let's go for a closer look, shall we? The mirror reflects the back of the gentleman and the lady, does it not? Here is the gentleman and here is the lady. But we also see two additional figures reflected in the mirror, one in red and one in blue. We believe, art historians believe, that this gentleman is the artist himself. He's basically taken a mirror selfie. I know, right? 1400s, we've got our first mirror selfie, right? Why do we also think this? Because, look at this. Do you see that above the mirror, he has actually signed his name? Yes, we know from this that the artist is Jan van Eyck, witnessing this event, painting it, and including himself as a reflection in the mirror. Awesome, right? I know. Let's forge ahead, okay? Before we do, I want you to look at this brush. Do you see how there's like a little mini broom hanging from the bedpost here? That was a gift. That was a typical gift that the Dutch would give to a young married couple, like newlyweds, and was a reference to the cleanliness of the home. Kind of the idea that cleanliness is next to godliness, a reminder to not be idle, right? So it was a popular wedding gift. In addition, do you see that we've got this very interesting figure here carved into the bedpost? This figure is actually Saint Margaret, a depiction of Saint Margaret. Why that particular saint? She was the patron saint of childbirth. Now that is interesting. We have the broom, which was a popular wedding gift for newlyweds at the time. We also have an image of the patron saint of childbirth. Are we getting more clues as to what is going on in this painting? I think so. What are some other symbols scattered about this house? Well, do you notice they have this very epic chandelier? Gorgeous, right? However, there's only one candle lit in the entire chandelier. That's interesting. That is probably a reference to the light of God. Now, sometimes the idea of the candle, especially in Dutch art, references the transience of life, like when a candle is blown out, your life is over suddenly, what have you. However, because we have one single lit candle, We believe this to be a reference to the light of God illuminating this couple's home. That's pretty cool. Another reference to the fact that they are religious. Do you see that we have some oranges on the windowsill and behind the gentleman? Yeah, when we go back to the full painting, you'll see that it's easy to skip over them. Why oranges? Well, they were definitely a symbol of prosperity. Think about where citrus grows. And if they're in Bruges, these oranges would have to travel a long way, right, to get to them. So that makes them rare, expensive, full of nutrients though, and vitamin C. So a very special gift and a very specific symbol to show that they are wealthy and prosperous. They can afford to have citrus fruits. But there's also another very interesting reference. Oranges are often a symbol of the Garden of Eden, but not like the apple. Remember, the apple associated with original sin and evil, but the orange is associated with purity and innocence. And how can you remember that? Well, because you can't compare apples and oranges, right? Awesome. What are some other symbols? Well, we have a pair of shoes just hanging out on the floor. And I know what you're thinking, they should have cleaned up before the artist came over. That is deliberate. Now, why would a person take off their shoes? Well, for the Dutch, it sometimes meant a reference to love and sex, okay? However, that's kind of not the feeling that I'm getting, particularly with this painting. I feel that it's more of a reference to the fact that maybe the gentleman took off his shoes as a sign of respect. Remember that when you stand on holy ground, you remove your shoes out of respect, right? And he did have his hand raised as if he were taking an oath, right? And let's look at our final symbol, the puppy. Did you see the puppy? Let's go look at our full painting. Do you see our puppy down here? Perfectly between the gentleman and the lady. A happy, alert puppy staring out at us, the viewer. What could that possibly mean? Well, we have seen a puppy in a previous painting in a previous video. And remember we said that the nickname for dogs, Fido, comes from the word fidelity, and typically that fidelity is in reference to what? Marriage. So, with all of these clues, with all of these symbols, what do you think this painting depicts? Yes, you are right. We call this painting the Arnolfini marriage. Well done. I'm so proud of you. You've come such a long way, and I'm so pleased. So now when you go back and look at this painting, do you see how the symbols jump out at you? Here we have the shoes, here we have the oranges, the chandelier, the brush, that mirror for sure, and of course, our puppy. Good job, everybody. Impressive, impressive. You want to do another one? I know you do. You know I do. So let's do it. Whew. What the heck is going on here? Doesn't it make you feel exhausted just to look at this painting? I feel exhausted. I feel like, oh my goodness, where do you begin? Okay, so this is the painting Beware of Luxury by Jan Steen. This is from about 1663. So this would fall into our genre or moral stories category. Remember, the Dutch love to depict these paintings that were the negative example. Remember, the don't do this type of painting, right? And in this case, Beware of Luxury, they're telling us this is what happens when you let your life just slide right into chaos, okay? What's going on here? Don't worry, we're going to go through it together because there is a lot to unpack, right? You ready for this? Okay, so where do we start? Let's start with this nice lady right here, the lady who is sleeping in the midst of this chaos. So if this is a warning and it's called Beware of Luxury, what is the artist trying to warn us about? Well, it's about don't be careless, practice temperance, practice restraint, everything in moderation. Don't go to extremes, right? It's a warning against greed and vanity and the acquisition of earthly possessions. And things have gotten a little out of control because here we have our sleeping housewife who seems completely oblivious to everything going on around her, right? First of all, I think I would wake up. That's just me. That's just me. Let's check out these children of hers. Not doing great, are they? They're getting into some trouble. First of all, this young lady is stealing from the cupboard. That's not good. Do you see this little guy with his pipe? Yeah, he is smoking. That's also not great. Here we have this little fella right here. Somehow he has acquired this incredibly beautiful necklace and is just playing with it like a toy. Interesting that he holds a silver spoon, and this is titled Beware of Luxury. Yeah, maybe don't spoil your kids, maybe? Not me, the artist, okay? This little guy has thrown his bowl of food to the ground and the bowl has broken, so that's not great. Maybe somebody should be watching the family dog because it is devouring their dinner. So, things aren't looking so great for the family side of this painting, right? Mom fell asleep, completely unaware of what's going on with her kids. The dog is eating the dinner. The kids are playing with precious jewels and jewelry. So does this imply that maybe this family is a little ungrateful for everything that they have? They should maybe be more humble? I don't know, perhaps. Somebody let a fiddle player in, so maybe this is what happens when you have a party in the middle of the day? I don't know. But let's check out these two individuals right here in the middle of the painting, okay? Let's talk about this lady because, boy, she's pretty bold, right, and confident, and she looks right out of the painting at us, at the viewer, right? Makes eye contact, and she seems very pleased with herself. She's got a little bit of décolletage exposed. Notice that the housewife, she's all buttoned up, but this lady's got a little bit of skin exposed, and I gotta point out, bright yellow dress. I gotta say, I'm wondering if this artist is leaning more towards a negative connotation for the color yellow. Remember that video? I know that you do. What's going on with her and this guy, right? Well, here she's got a jug, presumably of wine, because she has poured him a glass, and I gotta say, kind of looks like he's already had quite a few glasses of wine, doesn't it? His hat's on the ground. His hair's all wackadoo. He's unbuttoned his jacket. He's tossed his leg over her. Geez, guy, relax a little. So, I gotta say, these lovers here, part of this party gone wrong, perhaps? What's going on with the people on the left, or excuse me, on the right of them? Okay, are you ready for this? It's awesome. So, if we have our lady and we have our gentleman and they don't care about anything else that's going on, they're just drinking and having a great time, right? Do you notice this nice lady, clearly very buttoned up, very stoic kind of lady, how she looks like she's chastising him, kind of like, hey buddy, you're a little too drunk and maybe you should shape up and go home, right? But does he seem to care? No, he's having a good time, right? So then what's going on with this guy right here? Well, first of all, it looks like he's holding a book. He's got this very distinctive hat, and there is a duck sitting on his shoulder. What on earth could that mean? Is that deliberate? Yes, because what sound does a duck make? It quacks, making it a quacker and implying that this gentleman is a Quaker. Yes, exactly. How incredible is that? I know. So what else is going on? Well, a pig has wandered into the family home. That can't be good. The dinner has fallen out of the pan and into the fire, so it is ruined. And boy, what a waste that is. Speaking of waste, do you see our barrel of wine just pouring onto the floor? Can't drink that. That's not good. And then we have this very interesting symbol here. Do you see we've got a peeled orange? Now, we just talked about the orange being a symbol of purity and innocence, like the positive symbol out of the Garden of Eden, while the apple was kind of a negative symbol. But in this case, it has been peeled and no one is eating it. How long does a piece of fruit last once it has been peeled? Not long at all. It starts to rot and decay almost right away. At least it turns brown, right? That's kind of a negative symbol that these people better watch out that they don't turn bad, like this fruit, right? What else? I don't know if you noticed this, but somehow a monkey has entered this family home. I don't know where he came from. I don't know what he's doing there, but it looks like he is playing with the family clock. Now that is interesting. Is he quite literally monkeying around with time? Maybe. But whatever it is, it can't be good, right? So already we've got a lot of symbols crammed into one painting that are overwhelmingly screaming out at us, watch out, beware, don't be like any of these people. I mean, there's food on the floor, there are cards here that probably represent gambling and vice and card sharps and all kinds of negative things, right? But there's one very interesting symbol that you may not notice right away that really seals the deal on what this painting is about. You ready? Do you notice this basket? Inside this basket are a crutch and a sword. And these two symbols we see a lot in the Dutch Baroque paintings to reference punishment. Now, that sounds pretty heavy, right? But what is that implying? Well, that beware of luxury, because when you get caught up in the pursuit of these earthly pleasures, it leads to what? Punishment. And look at what the artist has done with this symbol. He has positioned this basket right over who? The two lovers. And do you see that this basket full of these objects hangs by a very thin thread? Wow. I know, right? This is part of the beauty of art history. When you see a painting like this and you see all of these objects in here, just know that those are symbols. Those are put there deliberately by the artist for a reason, and it's us to be the art history detectives to read the clues and decipher what's going on. I love that about art history. I hope you do too. Now we've wrapped up with this video our discussion on symbols. So what's next? We're actually coming very close to the end of our series. What do I have in store for you next? We're going to wrap things up with a discussion of repeated stories. Part 1 will be mythological stories, Part 2, religious stories, and Part 3, genre and moral stories. When you look at art history, you have to look for the patterns. And a lot of the patterns are found in the stories that are told over and over and over again. So we will talk about that in our final 3 videos. Thank you so much, again, from my heart, for watching these videos. If you have $1 that you could donate to my virtual tip jar, that would be phenomenal, and I would be so grateful. If not, please consider liking, sharing these videos, and subscribing to my YouTube channel, because that would be incredible too. My name is Adrienne Lee. You can call me the Wandering Art Historian. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.